and welcome to Hong Kong Business Owners. I'm Carmen, founder of this podcast that shares inspiring stories from entrepreneurs based in Hong Kong. Whether you created your own business, thinking about doing so, or simply curious to discover business creation stories, you'll get to listen to unique business owners' journeys, to learn what it takes to start a company, what the keys to success are, how to apprehend failures and challenges, and what to keep in mind when developing your own business. As an entrepreneur, one of your main focus is to sell your products or services. That's where marketing comes into play, especially digital marketing and social media. Do you know how much time we spend every day on social media? More than 2 hours. That's an opportunity to interact with your audience, reach new customers, and get more visibility. To find out more about how to leverage social media to grow your business, check out oak.genhk.com, the agency that helps business owners find their place on social media. Now let's move on to the episode. I hope it'll inspire you and guide you in your current or future projects. And don't forget to give me 5 stars to show me your support. Welcome everyone to this new episode of Hong Kong Business Owners. Today I'm with Chris Brown, not the singer, but the founder of ReThink. Hi Chris, happy to have you here. How are you?
I am doing very well, thank you.
That was a good intro, right?
It's a good intro, yes. Not the first time I've heard it, but yes,
I guess intro. So you founded ReThink, a sustainable business conference held in Hong Kong every year that you started in 2020. Last year, you welcomed more than 6,000 participants and selected speakers, such as business leaders and sustainability practitioners. You also created the ReThink Foundation to provide funding and resources for social and environmental impact projects. So the first thing that comes to my mind now is that you're involved in this cause and you're very active and really willing to make a real impact. Where does that come from? And what made you get so involved in making Hong Kong a more sustainable place?
Okay. So it came from getting to a stage in my life and my career where I felt that I had not only the experience and the, ambition, but also I was at this kind of nexus of opportunity as well. Mm-hmm. And so I wanted to do something different for a while. And my background is in working on large scale business events, so trade exhibitions, conferences. And I've done that ever since I left university. Actually, I started working on events even before university, even before school.
What do you like about events?
Done correctly, they can be hugely influential and powerful drivers of change. Now, drivers of change, I think, is a very appropriate phrase around sustainability, but actually you can apply that to any industry. So you're bringing together the thought leaders, the innovators, the disruptors within your industry or community. And together, the power of that is really, or the potential power of that it can be really significant. So I guess I've always enjoyed that part of it. If I go back, so apparently I worked on my first event at 8 years old. So it was kind of in the family. And my father recalls that at an early age, I was just kind of blown away by the kind of noise and the scale that was happening at these events. And so he used to be part of an organization and they had these huge manufacturing events, huge, like absolutely ginormous. And I would go to them as a small child, but then as I started to grow up, would help out at weekends or go along and be stuff goodie bags and things like that. And he recalls more than I do that I was just kind of blown away by the scale. So there's always been an underlying interest in the events, having been exposed to them from an early age, and then going into a career of working on events all around the world. So my first first job out of university. Within the first, I worked there for 2.5 years and went on 30-something different international trips to countries all around the world, working on events in different industries, different sectors, different countries, good shows, bad shows, good organizers, bad organizers, and just meeting so many people. Going to receptions at, embassies and as a 20-something, you're like, this is pretty cool. Yeah. You learn a lot. But fundamentally, you learn how to build relationships with people quickly. You're introduced to someone at an event, and you have to work out what the potential of this relationship is. And I find that personally exciting. And so at the point where I had an opportunity to start my own project, I guess that also came at the same time in my life, where I was like, okay. Me and my partner, we decided to commit to Hong Kong. See, a lot of people chose and made the decision to leave Hong Kong over the past, 3 or 4 years. We sat down, decided no, we love it here. We want to bring up a family here, and we've been able to do that with our new baby just 4 months ago. But in order for that to feel like the right decision and to really buy into that decision, I wanted to make sure that I was having a positive impact and contributing towards a city an absolutely incredible city. Yeah. But I wanted to feel like I was having a positive impact and doing something good for the city. And with that 20, at the time it was sort of 16 or 17 years, but now 20 something years of experience, I felt that I had the confidence, but also the ambition to be able to do something. Yeah. And then there were a series of events which we can go through, which all contributed a little bit towards why it was sustainability, why it was ReThink. Because I was in no way was I an activist. I'm not an activist. I've never have been an activist, but I was genuinely someone who tried their hardest to live sustainably. And for anyone who's moved from certainly the UK, and certainly Europe to Hong Kong, will understand just how challenging that is. You don't even have to, in the UK or Europe, it's just part of normal behaviour to a certain extent anyway. And here, you have to go the extra mile to even, be able to do your recycling or shop sustainably. Yeah. Everyone knows how challenging that is. And I genuinely hope it's getting better, and ReThink can play a part in that.
But was it that cause that made you start a business, or was it also you had this in mind for a while to start your own business and not having a boss and handling things your way?
For sure. So I was very fortunate throughout my career to work for some phenomenal entrepreneurs who turned, small businesses into mega businesses, and to learn from them. And, if you work for an event company, your event within a company or within a portfolio is a mini company in itself. It has its own P&L. You, as an event director, you have to understand, you're running a business within a business. So I was, again, very fortunate to get exposure to that process of running a business within a business in my early 20s. So you learn how to do forecasting, you learn how to do financing, you learn how to do marketing, you learn how to do operations and sales. So all the components of running a business within a business. And of course, you have to learn and get experience with dealing with internal stakeholders, external stakeholders. So events of this nature give you a really rounded experience of managing a product.
And people and many stakeholders and a deadline and stress, I guess, because as long as you have a deadline, then I guess it's stressful.
Yeah, but this is one thing again I find I get a buzz out of it with events at this scale, is that there is a deadline. That event will open at 9:00 on that date. There's no push it back a day. Let's postpone it a week because we're not quite ready. That event is opening, whether you've got enough exhibitors or sponsors or delegates or speakers, that event is going to open. And that can be extremely daunting And it is extremely daunting, but it's also hugely rewarding and exciting.
Yeah,
When you're in that run up to it, it's so much pressure. But I think if you're the kind of first person that feeds off that and can enjoy that, it's great. I've always enjoyed that part of it.
And can you tell us more about the actual income of the event, also the event you organize, but also maybe of each event that is the income, the outcome. Did I say income?
You said income, yeah. I mean outcome.
Outcome.
We can talk about income if you want.
Yeah. So can you tell us more about the outcome of each event? Is it different from an event to another, even if it's like the same, event at the per se? But what's your main objective that you want to reach, and how do you make sure you reach it?
Great questions and difficult questions.
Yeah.
So I get asked this quite a lot, and I actually make a point of addressing this at the beginning of the event in my opening welcome. So, last year, opening welcome in front of 600 people, government ministers, business leaders. And I make I think it's a very important point, and it's not me trying to diminish any kind of responsibility. Our job, the ReThink team, our job is to design and curate and organize, promote and build an event that helps to facilitate the discussions, showcase the innovation, and provide a forum or an arena where partnerships and collaborations can be made. And we do that job pretty well. It is not our job to go and drive that change, to make that transition, to make the investments, to deliver the impact. Now, of course, we're responsible for our own business, our own footprint, how we operate our office, how we operate our event, and we can talk about that part as well. But the responsibility is on everyone in that room to use this a huge opportunity and use it efficiently, effectively, use it wisely. Make sure you are open to discussions and partnerships and collaboration with everyone you sit next to. And I have the most wonderful example of how, or maybe two examples of how just powerful it can be. So I got a phone call after the event in 2022. I got a phone call from a lady who works for one of the corporates in Hong Kong. And she says, "Hi, Chris, the event was really great last week. But I just want to let you know, I was sat listening to one of the conference sessions, and there was another lady sat next to me, and she just turned around to me and asked me what I did, who I was, and what my role was, and why I was attending this event. She really wanted to get into sustainability, but just didn't really know how to use her existing skills and experience. So she had taken a day off work, taken a day's holiday from work, paid for a ticket, come to ReThink, just to try and understand like the landscape of sustainability and how it is important and relevant to everything everyone does." That lady is now my chief of staff.
Oh,
because the lady she met and she spoke to, as they got talking, she was like, "What you do is, talk to Chris, because he might have something, but if he doesn't, he might know someone." So I met with Louisa the next week, and by the end of the week of that, she was our chief of staff. And she's now been responsible, obviously supporting me and supporting the team, but she's been instrumental in taking my crazy idea of starting a not-for-profit foundation alongside our for-profit business. And she's been responsible for launching the foundation and building the partnerships we have with Hands On Hong Kong and all the NGO partners, and getting match funding for everything we do with the foundation. So that's one example of the power of an event.
That's a nice one.
And I think my message to people is just don't be afraid to speak to the person next to you. Just because some of the content at ReThink is pretty, it's all complicated. Some of it is quite technical, some of it's quite advanced. And our event has to be. It has to be accessible to someone who has got no idea about sustainability or ESG, but it also has to be relevant to the most senior, experienced, sustainability leaders in the city and government. So it's a huge range of content that has to be open and accessible for everyone. Otherwise, no, everyone would feel, that's too advanced for me, or it's not advanced enough. So that's quite a challenge to curate the program in that way.
You were talking about the impact and saying that also people, they can work themselves on the impact they want to have. Yep. And you yourself with the event do all the job for them. But is it the foundation? Is it something that also comes with the event and the ReThink to go even further in terms of impact?
Absolutely. It is part of our own impact.
Yeah.
So when I was starting the event, should we talk about this? But when we were starting I came up with the idea of the event. So it wasn't called ReThink at the beginning. It had loads of other weird names, and I was, speaking to sustainability stakeholders. And this is before we had the advisory board. So I was going out, meeting people. I didn't want to give away too much about what I was planning. I was just trying to, get information out of them about what they might want or need from an event. And now, even back there, obviously there are lots of sustainability events now. Some are amazing, some are not amazing, some are small, some are massive. Back in 2019, there weren't as many, but there were still events. But even back then, the comments I was getting was, not another sustainability event. So even back in 2019, and think how many there are now. And so I was kind of trying to chip away at this. I was like, what do they actually mean by, not another sustainability event? And essentially, what they actually mean is not another shit sustainability event. That's really what they meant.
Yeah,
We've been going, the format's the same, the people are the same, the discussions are the same. Where's the actual change? Where's the actual impact? And people kept using this term, where's the impact? What's going to happen from it? How do you measure it? How do you monitor it? So it was really, really important once the model for ReThink, firstly, was just completely different to everything else, and that we could introduce some elements of transparency and measurability beyond we got this many people turning up and we had this many speakers. Now, obviously, that's important. How many people turn up is really important. How many speakers is really important. But that's just the same as every other event. And say, this event might say, we got 300, and ReThink goes, we got 3,000. Are we, that 10 times? Are we 10 times better or 100 times better? Maybe, but maybe not. So for me, it was really important that we had some kind of measure of, the impact that we helped to create or helped to facilitate. So from day one, I made the decision that we wouldn't make any profit from our delegates. So that the delegate fees the attendees pay would go towards supporting local impact projects. And I made that commitment from day one. And even to the first advisory board meeting in November 2019, because I knew the question would come up, how is this event any different to any others? It's we're going to donate all of our delegate fees to charities. And the obvious question from them is, then how are you going to make any money? And so the very quick version of that answer is, in my mind, if delegates are paying, they see value in attending. So firstly, they're more likely to turn up than if it's free. And I've run lots of free to attend events in my career, when you have to register double, if not triple, the number of people you want to attend in order to get to your targets, which is hugely resource intensive. So we ask delegates to pay because we believe there is value in attending, whether it's from the content or the networking, whatever the benefit is, there's value in that. And if you see value in that, then you don't mind paying to come. But it also means that you're taking this seriously. And so where we get our revenue from is from our exhibitors in the showcase and from our corporate sponsors who believe that ReThink is a powerful platform to support the transition in Hong Kong. It's important that our exhibitors and sponsors are meeting and connecting with serious people. So the more serious people that we can get to the event, the more exhibitors will trust us to say, right, okay, well, you're delivering us the right kind of, this is the quality delegates. And then, yes, we'll support you next year, or we'll take a bigger booth next year. So I was happy to basically gamble and bet all the delegate revenue on being able to design an event that attracted quality delegates.
Interesting.
And to date, we have donated over 1.2 million Hong Kong dollars of delegate revenue now through the foundation. And it is not only am I immensely proud of it, it's incredibly rewarding to see these projects taking, these are projects, the organizations existed, of course, but the projects are new projects funded entirely by the ReThink delegates.
Yeah.
And all projects have clear outcomes. They're Hong Kong centric, so they are supporting disadvantaged or disengaged communities that you can see out of the window. So when anyone asks me, well, how do I measure or track or, what is the impact of of ReThink on Hong Kong? I said, well, firstly, this is everything we're doing through the foundation. And then, let's look at how many connections and collaborations and discussions and new innovations at the events. That almost comes, secondary to it. It's like, and here's a cherry on top.
Yeah, nice. Well, you're really making an impact. You reach your first objective when you started this. And actually you told me you started in 2020.
So I need to try and check the date, because I think it could be the 5th anniversary of actually incorporation of 2019.
Cool. So my question was, you started and then there's been the protests and then COVID, of course. So how did you manage to survive being a business centered around events?
Yeah.
And more generally, what's your mindset in the face of hardships?
Sure. I guess there's two answers to that question. One is I just didn't have a choice.
Yeah, that's a good answer.
Just didn't have a choice. Just had to keep going. The other answer is it was incredibly difficult. So I incorporated the company 2019. So I still had a job halfway through 2019. But it was just some project consultancy work, but we knew that was ending halfway through the year. But during 2019 is when I was doing my desk research, going out. I mean, the first bit of non-desk research I did in March, April 2019 was I wrote a survey, and I got a translator to come with me. We spoke to about 200 businesses in Hong Kong, just out on the street. Mum and dad, auntie and uncle businesses, local businesses at high street level, and tried to find out what they understood about sustainability, if it was important to them, what the challenges were, and the awareness around it was just nothing.
Really?
Yeah, nothing. And although on one hand that's awful and terrifying, on the other hand I'm like, this is exciting. This is what an event that I've got the experience of designing and organizing can help with. So I knew there was an absolute need. Then as I started to kind of formulate the event and come up with different ideas for what it would be called and the format, I started to build my network really during the second half of 2019. And I had a target. I had how many individual contacts do I want to have met and build a relationship with?
Yeah.
I think it was 800. The target was 800 people to have met either at networking events and to build my own personal network. And then there was 50 within that were priority targets. And so some of those 50 are now friends and on my advisory board and long-term supporters and advocates of ReThink. Most of that was kind of during protests. So, our first advisory board meeting was delayed twice or three times. We had Mike Kilburn from the Airport Authority who just couldn't get there because someone had set fire to the Airport Express or whatever had happened at the time. So right from the beginning, there was always these challenges. And we got through that and we launched the event. We had a launch party in November 19. Some people couldn't make that because of some protesty thing. But we got the support of Cathay, HSBC and SAP to announce at that launch in 2019. And very quickly, we only had 20 sponsorship spots for that first event. And it was being designed for June 2020. Very quickly, we sold all the spots, either the sponsorship or the marketplace, the expo. by January something, most of the delegate tickets were sold.
Cool.
For June. And I was doing it on my own. I had a part-time helper. I did the program on my own with support from the Purpose business. I did all the logistics, all the sales, everything. It was a one-man startup. And then obviously when the news of COVID came in February, obviously we didn't really know what it was. And obviously very quickly it became serious. I know speakers and delegates and sponsors started asking questions that I just didn't have the answers to. And so by Easter, we had postponed it. We managed to agree with the venue to move it to September. And then just kind of nothing happened for a while. It was a bit scary, but I didn't have any staff. I had a little hot desk place. So it's like, okay, well, my biggest risk is that I have to cancel and then make a decision. Mm-hmm. Okay, I either fold the business and just close it down and we're done, or I have to give the money back to sponsors, pay back all the delegates. And so that was stressful. I got pretty depressed and because as event organisers, what we need are nicely, clearly defined pathways. We like to know rules and regulations, what you can do, what you can't do, when you've got to get it done by. Like, we're in our sweet spot when we have that. Give us the rule book. We will push it to the extremes, but we'll do everything within the rule book. And there was no rule book. Like no one knew what was going on. No one knew what was going to happen tomorrow or the next day. And so obviously the all events took an absolute hammering, and our industry was really, really badly hit. And I mean, as the statistics and the analysis have come out since COVID, just how important these kind of, and I know it was a launch event and I know it was small scale, but the power and the value of business events to Hong Kong is under recognized, I think, within the business community. It's huge amounts. Mm-hmm. And we're still not back to where we were 2018. Yeah. And it still take a little while. But then we were able to reschedule it in October. I mean, the venue on one hand were amazing. So it was at the K11 in Quarry Bay, and the team at New World on one hand were incredibly supportive because they wanted to try and make it happen. But on the other hand, it was pretty scary for a one man band dealing with legal teams from New World Development about the implications of running an event in COVID, when obviously everyone else was just not running events. But go back to my short answer, I didn't have a choice. Like, if I had canned it, if I binned it, and lots of people were putting pressure on me to do so. When we lost some sponsors, they luckily, I won't say who they are, but they luckily allowed us to keep the money, because without it we would have gone under, but had to withdraw from the event. They just couldn't have their branding or physically be at the event. And a lot of people were understandably concerned. I mean, I was very concerned. But yeah, if I had stopped, we would have lost the momentum. Even if we kept the business going, we would have lost the momentum. I don't think the venue would have gone, okay, well, let's have a look at dates again for next whatever March. It would have gone. So it was like, this event will happen. So understandably, we had to go by all the rules, and it was legally allowed to happen. But obviously, the restrictions around it were really, really tough. We basically went from 800 delegates down to 400. And then 5 days before the event, had to go from 400 down to 200. So cut it. At the last minute, had to pay for an online streaming service, which I paid so much money for, to try to convince a camera crew to come in and live stream it with 3 days notice.
But you didn't give up. So
no, I didn't give up. I didn't give up. And I think
mindset
that as much, I mean, the event was brilliant, and I had people coming up to me at the event saying, okay, I get it now. I understand what you were talking about. When you said it would be different, it would be curated differently, designed differently, everything orchestrated differently, even promoted differently. I've always wanted my events to have a personality. I want them to be part of that community, to be recognized as a friend to people in that community. This event is here to help you. It's here to support the community, to give it a open, accessible, neutral meeting place. Not here to drive the narrative. I'm here to support the conversations that have to happen.
And do you see an evolution in the last 4 or 5 years in people's sensitivity to sustainability? And by people, I mean, because I guess there are two targets, like organizations and institutions and individual people.
Yes. So from an organization and institutional level, absolutely. I think one thing was interesting between ReThink 2020 and 2021. So 2020, and look, it was because I built that. The attendance at that event was built out of my network. So I went, built my network, then used my network to promote the event, to get their friends and colleagues. And we could put my hand up, and when we look back, and it was a predominantly Gweilo white audience in 2020. As we have gone through, and other things have happened in Hong Kong that contribute towards this, but as we've gone through the last 4 years, it's a local audience, a local business audience. Of course, there's white people, and of course there are, but this is a business event for Hong Kong. An event for Hong Kong businesses. And so I think that the understanding and the importance and the weighting that businesses are giving to sustainability, and I think this is really important for us, and I go on about this quite a lot, that our event is about sustainable business. And yes, ESG is a part of that. We're not an ESG event. We're not an event for bankers and the banking industry. Of course, the conversation around finance, sustainable finance and accessibility to it, and the data part of it, and how that is all linked together, that is part of our conversation. So what is a sustainable business? It's everything you do and see and touch in every element of your business operations. And so that's why we have alongside the kind of the very challenging areas of kind of scope 3 and managing your decarbonisation are social impact, diversity and inclusion, running a business with purpose, being able to communicate your ambition and achievements in a way that your stakeholders are going to care about, both internal and external. That is what a sustainable business is. Because if you want your business to be thriving in 20 years' time, then you need to very much start thinking about what does it take to be sustainable over that 20-year period. And obviously the challenges for listed companies and conglomerates and big multinational organizations are a lot bigger scale, a lot more complex than your standalone, local business. But I think the work that is being done in Hong Kong from those big organizations, we can use those as leaders and use the progress that is being made, hopefully, as an inspiration to other organizations as well.
And how do you see ReThink evolve in the future? What is your next big challenge? Because you seem to like challenge.
Yeah.
I was wondering, maybe I ask you, are you willing to organize events maybe abroad, like in Asia?
Sure. So what's next for ReThink? I mean, you kind of, we touched on it just a moment ago, that you have this transition for businesses and organizations, and then we have this awareness and behavior change for the general public. So we have ReThink HK for business transformation, and we have just recently launched ReThink Lifestyle, which is a consumer festival of healthy and sustainable living. So that will take place, two separate events, but to address those two very similar but very different audiences. So ReThink Lifestyle is about demonstrating that the public have a responsibility to change the way that they behave, change the way that they live their lives. That there are increasingly product, services, solutions and initiatives out there to support them in doing that. And the more people that are on board with that, we then will overcome the kind of the green premium that still exists in some categories, not all. So that's our biggest project, new project that's live.
Exciting.
Yes, that is really exciting as well. And we've got a new collaboration to be announced soon for the ReThink Foundation. That's really gonna not just give more awareness to the foundation and the organisations that we support, but actually help to magnify and expand on the projects that the NGOs we support design. And then kind of behind the scenes, we are looking at other opportunities and where the ReThink model could work and create similar types of impact, whether that's in other countries or other cities. That's something we're looking at the moment.
Okay. And as you told me, you started actually with your own network and you met a lot of people, and now you have kind of two target audiences because you have like organizations and people.
Yeah.
So how do you communicate? How do you promote your business? How do you interact with people? I guess my question is, what's your marketing strategy? Is it like social media? Is it digital marketing? Because I have my social media marketing agency, so I'm always interested in knowing how people communicate and if they use social media.
Of course. Yeah. So we use probably all channels that are available, but especially when we're launching an event and you're getting an event concept or event proposition off the ground, kind of affiliate or partnership marketing is absolutely the strongest for us. Yeah. So, and this is the nature of ReThink anyway. That building collaborations to deliver to program and deliver the content. So we are the experts at bringing it all together. We are not the experts in green buildings, for example. So we partner with the Hong Kong Green Building Council, who are the experts to design and deliver the content, and then which is hopefully unique and it's different to other, and it has to be different to other content that they're producing for their own events, because we want to be able to attract an audience that is going to come and listen to something different perspectives, but then using their network. So they have a huge membership base of all people and organizations interested in the built environment and green buildings. So using the HKGBC as a content partner to access their community. So we do that with on a top level, a content partner level with 16 organizations. And then underneath that, we have supporting organizations who are also part of the conference program. And then the kind of the more general supporting organizations who believe in what we're trying to achieve and will promote it out to their network. So all of that noise that all of that creates then obviously feeds into our own data capture. We're able to then segment and profile let's call them incoming leads or incoming inquiries, to profile them within our CRM system and our digital marketing platform, so that when we send out messages, they are in some way tailored. Okay. So we're not obviously we do general generic messaging about what's happening at the event, but when it comes down to either industry specific or topic specific messaging, so let's just say around green buildings, we're sending that message to people who are probably going to be interested in green buildings. So it's that segmentation. So if you think we have 8 concurrent programs, 125, 130 sessions. Each of those we've got to try and give fair weighting to in that promotion campaign. And as much as the campaign is active from the middle of April, it's the final 6 weeks that actually move the needle. So in the final 6 weeks, you've got to in some way give us a balanced amount of coverage to 125 sessions, 500 speakers, 250 sponsors. So that's a real challenge. But then you've got different channels to be able to do that from. So e-newsletters, digital marketing, social media, different social media platforms. Once someone has registered for the event and hopefully downloaded the app or updated their app, we've then got that as a kind of a direct channel. But they're already registered, so that's more about keeping them updated and hopefully making sure that they attend the event.
Yeah. So you just say you partner with a lot of other companies or institutions. So as you have like very strong values and you're driven, how do you choose the people you work with, whether it's your staff that is just right behind you, or business partners or stakeholders?
So from a partnership perspective, we have to position it as that we are providing more value to our partners than we are asking them for in return. So the opportunity, and that we have target organizations. We know areas where we need to develop the event, or we want to develop the event, and there may be 2 or 3 organizations who are directly relevant to that topic or that industry or sector. So of course we want you want to go for the most prominent organization, but actually they may not be the most collaborative. They may have pretty conservative ways or rules and regulations about who they can partner with. And as much as we would love them to come on board, if it's pushing water uphill and it's going to be a challenge, then actually, let's just work with the organization that wants to work with us, that sees the benefits, that we believe will put, as much effort and resource into it as they can. We don't want partnering with ReThink to be onerous. We want it to be collaborative, and we want it to become part of their engagement campaign. We have a strategic partnership with the Business Environment Council. And so, our campaign kind of intertwines with their member engagement and their the demonstration of what they are able to do in terms of supporting the business community in Hong Kong. So there's a huge amount of synergy there. And we add I'm talking from ReThink perspective, but I'm pretty confident that we add a huge amount of value to what each other are doing. So it's that old corny phrase. It's win-win.
Yeah.
So, but I think I want to apply that same kind of philosophy to the people that come and work on ReThink as well. Obviously, I want to hire the best people who are within a certain discipline. Actually, no, they need to be better than me at what it takes in running events. They need to be better at sales. They need to be better at partnerships. They need to be better at admin. They need to be better at content curation, in order that we continue to evolve and move forward. I want people who want to make a difference, of course, and I think that having a purpose is becoming more and more commonplace. I find it fascinating to think about who in 20 years' time, the CEOs of companies in 20 years' time are the university graduates of today. The 20-year-olds who will be 40-year-olds and will starting to become CEOs. The way they're going to want to run those businesses compared to how a CEO runs that business today. A huge amount of transition that's going to have to happen between now and then. And it's the role of the current CEO to make sure that business transforms in a way that attracts the best talent and the best CEOs in 20 years. I think that's fascinating. It's going to be a very interesting couple of decades.
Yeah.
And so it's the same for us. We're a small business, but I want people who want to work for each other. They want to support each other. And we have to on running an event like this. You can't just be in it for yourself. You've got to be in it for everyone sat next to you and opposite you.
Cool. Yeah, I like your vision of also business partners. When you say I want them to get something out of it even more than me. Because we tend to see our plate instead of thinking of what is it for them at the end of the day. Yeah. And
I wouldn't want an organization to be partnering with us if they felt that they weren't getting anything out of it, or what they were getting out of it is being diminished. We genuinely try really hard to make sure that we are continuously evolving and improving how we work with and support our partners.
Yeah. Also, it's also a way to. I can see now how you really build strong relationship with either attendants and also partners. So
that's what I said about the event having a personality. I want people to trust and believe in ReThink.
Yeah. It's time for the last question now.
Okay.
So do you have any tips or any lessons you learned that you would like to share with other business owners or future ones that might be still hesitant?
Yeah, I think obviously resilience is a huge part of being a business owner and entrepreneur. As I said, I didn't really have a choice of the circumstances that I went through and the team went through in the first couple of years of ReThink during COVID.
Actually, you had the choice. You just chose not to give up, I would say. You didn't have the choice to cope with COVID because COVID was there, but you could have just said, okay, I'll just don't do anything.
I could have. Yeah, but I'd invested quite a lot of my own money in the project.
Yeah, but
to be able to. You're right. Okay, you're absolutely right. I could have chosen just to, It
was just not an option.
It was
for you.
not a viable option. Yeah.
Yeah.
But it's there's parts of me that I almost wouldn't have wanted it any other way. Like it has definitely made me a better, stronger person. Definitely, and for loads of reasons. It gave us that opportunity to demonstrate that we, and I say we, at ReThink, is resilient and matters and is important. And I think without COVID, that would have been a totally different journey. We'd have had a totally different journey.
Yeah.
And the journey that we've been on has been tough and stressful. But also really rewarding and exciting. So, yeah, I guess I wouldn't change it.
Wow. Well, thank you so much for this inspiring conversation. I hope you had a good time.
It was really great, yeah.
So if people want to learn more about ReThink or ReThink Foundation or ReThink Lifestyle, where should they go?
I hope by now, if you type in ReThink into Google, we should be somewhere near the top, I think. But yeah, ReThink HK, ReThink Lifestyle into Google, that will take you to websites, or might bring up my LinkedIn profile. That comes up top sometimes.
Okay.
But yeah, both events are in Hong Kong. ReThink HK in September, ReThink Lifestyle in December.
Okay.
And we obviously welcome as many change makers and those who want to be a part of the solution to come along.
Cool. Thank you, Chris.
Thanks so much.
Thank you. Bye-bye. I hope you're inspired by today's business story. And if you're thinking about running your own business, you might now be one step closer to doing so. If you own a business and you're looking to get more visibility and reach new customers, try the social media pack from Octogen, a monthly retainer to grow your business through social media marketing and optimization. Check out octogenhk.com, the agency that helps business owners find their place on social media. See you in 2 weeks to meet a new Hong Kong business owner, and don't forget to leave me 5 stars to support me and follow me on Instagram at hk.businessowners. Bye!